What's up, family? Welcome to Ask to My Aunts.
where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This right here is my delicious wife, Young.
And this right here, this is my partner in crime.
You can't go there with me?
What?
You can't, get nasty with me?
Bring it down. What are you talking about? This is my baby. This is my best friend.
This is my scrumptious wife, Young.
Is this something that you're trying
This
to
is my
suggest?
delectable.
You must want to taste me a little later. Anyway, what's up, y'all? All right, we had a question to come in a little earlier. Actually, not a little earlier. We had it come in some time ago. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and read it on out. It says, Dear the Mats, Dear the Mats, I have an issue and really need some good advice. I met this guy about 5 months ago and I'm really feeling him. He's 48 and I'm 45. We're both on the same page as to wanting a future together. He's really good to me. He's very affectionate, romantic, always concerned with how I'm feeling, and tells me that I'm his future wife, and so on. That sounds good. So what's the problem? Well, about a week ago, we finally became intimate. I love how passionate he is. He's a great kisser. But when it came down to the lovemaking, well, that's another story. I first caught a glimpse of it. I was like, well, maybe it's not the size that counts, and maybe he isn't fully aroused. Well, as things went on and we proceeded to become intimate, I realized that was that. And it was over within no time. So I told myself maybe it was just a fluke. So we got to do it again. Then it will be better. Quite disappointing. I'd never seen something so small on a grown man before. Sorry.
Broke with a straight face on. Straight face.
But anyway, my question is, what do? I have this great man that will do anything for me, but sexually it is not working. Although he says we can talk about anything, I do realize that could be a sensitive subject for some men. And realistically, there's really nothing he could do about what he has to work with. So, do I continue with a great guy who doesn't satisfy in the bedroom, or just end it? Or am I putting too much on this sexual part of our relationship? Please help. Wow. What an awesome question.
It really is.
Well, first thing I want to say before we kind of get into this response to you is that all of the great things that you say that your man has going are awesome. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that you're able to list it out and really talk about how attentive he is and how great he is in this area, in that area, in this area, in that area. And sometimes folks are not even able to do that. They haven't even recognized that. So that's a wonderful thing. But oftentimes I find that when you have a man who is seemingly as good as he is, and I say seemingly because you've been with him for 5 months, right? Let's keep it real. Y'all still finding each other out. You're still learning each other. You don't really know him for real yet. But so far so good, right? But when there's so much going well, people will say, if they're talking to you, you're getting some advice or something, oh, well, you got this little issue around sex. You know what? It's not all about sex. It's about the two of you. It's about your connection. It's about your intellect. It's about blah, 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 blah. So don't worry about that because he's so great. So the first thing I want to tell you is worry about it. Mm-hmm. You have all of these wonderful things going on, but it is right and it is appropriate for you to be saying, that's concerning to me. Mm-hmm. Because the sexual connection is important. It's about that physical intimacy that leads to greater emotional intimacy. It's about being able to meet each other's needs. It's about a whole lot more that I can't go into within the context of this video today. Mm-hmm. But it is definitely important for you to be able to understand, and for him to be able to understand the role that it plays in uplifting your relationship or being a breakdown in the relationship if that area is not being paid attention to. Mm-hmm. Now, clearly you all are not married. You're 5 months into a relationship, but you're having sex, and that's what y'all are doing. That's what y'all doing. Y'all okay with that. So I just want to say that. So you've discovered this. Here's the piece. You've got these two components to look at from my perception here. You've got technique, and then you've got his anatomy, right? So in terms of his anatomy, he's a certain size. It is what it is, right?
No, not necessarily.
No?
He can increase that.
What, for like 5 minutes when he does something or like
Nah, I
like
mean,
exercise or something?
I mean, they can use a penis pump.
Penis
That's one
push-ups.
thing.
Penis push-ups. Do some penis push-ups before you get into bed.
He can use a penis pump. I mean, he can engage in surgical procedure to enhance the size of it.
Oh,
So there's
okay,
things
okay.
that can be done. He could take some pills to increase blood flow to that particular area. So
Okay, okay,
there
okay,
are
okay.
things that can be done to
Point well
enhance
taken.
the size
Okay.
of the genitalia.
Okay. So, all right. So then you got the anatomy, and there is perhaps, I don't know the how well these things work, but certainly I'm sure there are people who have done those things, and that's something that you all can research in terms of the physical size. So
And I also don't know how small is too small.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're saying
So,
it's too small, but for the next person, it may be completely wonderful.
Or it may be so small that even if you use those things, then, you still come up short.
That is true too. So here's the thing: you got that piece that you got to look at, but then you also got technique, right? You know, sex is not really as much about size. I don't care what nobody say. People focus on that, and I do think that it's overrated. Let me just put it out there. I think it's overrated in terms of how we talk about it within the context of looking at relationship. It's really about being spiritually connected, emotionally connected, being able to learn your partner and know what makes them tick, knowing the technique, knowing where to hit it, how to do it, how to move your back to get it just the way they need it. You see what I'm saying?
Need to feel you though.
What I'm saying is, though, that much of that comes with learning the other person. Much of that comes with learning more about yourself in terms of what you can do to fit the other person. And so a lot of that is around technique and skill, and that takes time. So what I'm saying is, in terms of all the things that will help you in sexual intercourse, in terms of, being turned on and being brought to orgasm and being able to feel good and connected, will not have to do with the size of his penis. It just won't, right? But at the same time, if it really is, a lack there, there's really an issue there, then that's something that you do have to be honest and transparent about. So I'm saying that, yes, it's important, but I don't know that it's something that you should just be out. It's really about the same thing that we look at in relationships when we talk about the relationship as a whole. Are you in this thing and are you committed to working through it? Or are you just like, it's too hard, I'm done? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, because you can have a conversation, which you need to have, and yeah, it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one. I know you can speak on that.
Yeah.
but you need to have a conversation. You need to be able to come to some understanding as to what you all are going to do to strategize in this area. And that's how you have to do any area of your relationship.
Yeah, it would definitely be a difficult conversation to have because the ego is attached to that particular organ. Yeah, so, you got a big ego, in this instance, he got a small ego. And that conversation that you had with them would definitely need to be done delicately. But, what I also want to say is this, that you need to, when you're having that conversation, be clear that it's okay to have certain standards, certain non-negotiables. And I would hate to say that, penis size should be a standard or non-negotiable, but you know what you like, you know what you enjoy, you know what your
you saying that you have to be at least this size in order for me to deal with you?
What I'm saying is that you know what satisfies you. And so it would be a life of misery, dissatisfaction, and for some people, maybe even pure hell to have to be in relationship, be in a marriage with somebody who can't fulfill them sexually.
Right, but that doesn't come down to penis size alone.
Not alone. However, if that's what you like and that's what you're looking for in your relationship when it comes to sexual intimacy.
Alone? That's it in and of itself?
No, if that's what you're looking for in that particular area, then you have a right to put that on the table and be honest with yourself, because if he's not meeting that need, then you got to deal with it. You have to deal with that for the rest of your life. You might not be feeling it, but it's real talk.
You're saying, we all have a standard and certain things that we'd like to see, and that kind of thing, and we'd like to have, right? Want them to be this tall, and want them to be able to stroke it like this, and want them to be this complexion, we want them to have hair like that. Okay, we have all of those kinds of things, but if you're looking for that in and of itself, that's a key thing for you, that in and of itself, then you need to come see us, because I feel like I don't feel like I know, there are many indicators of a healthy sexual relationship. There are many things that can happen for her to be fulfilled within that context, not just the size. You can't just, what I'm saying is that you can't analyze that alone on that. Well, yeah, you're not that size. Yeah, you can say, that's a big deal to me. You can say that, But then if you really have this person who is a great person in all these other ways, you're gonna say, yeah, and so that for real, that's just a deal breaker. I'm be honest with myself. Well, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? You stupid. No. I'm sorry.
No, we disagree on this one, y'all. And yeah, I mean,
so you're talking about technique, being able to be in tune and learn the other person, being able to go, whether you are looking at doing the surgeries and all the stuff you talked about.
Aside from the surgery.
Whether you're going to get some sex therapy, you all are looking at, you might not even need that. He might be very in tune with you and be willing to learn and how to get you where you need to be and all of that. You're saying that all of those other things, know that the person, if they're in a relationship with someone who is, as she has said that he is, a very good man, really should be able to just look at that alone and to say, yeah, it's not going to work for me. I mean, because the size, in and of itself, without even going down all the other areas, it's just a deal breaker.
What I'm saying is that...
That's dumbness.
No, it's not dumb. I think that if you choose to continue the relationship and you are fully aware that right there is something that's significant and no changes have been made, he's not willing to go through the procedures, he's not willing to do...
We ain't talking about that, though. I'm not there. I'm talking about her initial assessment as where the space she's in right now.
Just know that you could be really setting yourself up emotionally, mentally, for some serious turmoil, because, again, you have a need, you have a desire, you have a want. And you have a sexual history, too. So I'm not sure how experienced you are, but if you're used to experiencing something a particular way, and that's been significant to you in your past, and now you're entering into a new relationship, and he's not meeting that need, then what that does is it creates a vacuum which leaves room to opportunity to enter in and interfere with the relationship.
No.
And so, that's real talk right there. And so what I'm saying is that, like, if you do not feel like that particular need is being met, then I think that you have to be honest with yourself and know that when you engage in this relationship for an extended period of time, that need continues not to be met, then you're going to be unhappy. That's not to say that he can't satisfy you in other areas. That doesn't mean that he can't make you happy. That doesn't mean he can't do other things. But, again, if that's something that you want to feel, then you want to feel it.
Well, okay, I'm going to apologize in advance because you're going to say, well, what's the answer? No, it is not the size of the penis that will cause you to be miserable and to be in this relationship where this particular area, which I agree is a very important area, is just left, just dusty and rusty. No. It's not the penis size. It is your ability to deal with what you now have in front of you. It is his ability to deal with it. It is your ability to be able to keep it in perspective, to understand how you value him as an entire person, how you value the relationship you have with him as an entire unit, and to be able to talk with him and his ability to take it in, and for you all to be able to use this as an opportunity to either come closer or it may divide you more. But that remains to be seen. It's about having the commitment to do the work, to really look at what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what works for him, what doesn't work for him. Are you able to study some things? Are you able to be creative? Are you willing to even go there and do that? That's what determines whether or not you will be, miserable, not the size in and of itself. What I'm saying, which is what I'm disagreeing, it appears, with my husband on, is that you coming to the table and just straight up saying this in and of itself is enough of a deal breaker for me. Yes, certainly you have the right and the opportunity to do that. I don't advise it. There are lots of people out here who would jump on this man if this man is as good as you say he is, and they are willing and able to work with him and actually be opened up in ways they may not even realize they could be. You might go to a whole nother level just because of what it requires for you to be honest with him, to be courageous with him, to have a conversation with him, and for him to be able to give that back to you, to have that kind of connection and closeness, to work on it together, to actually get some skills that you never even had because you are now going down a road you've never been down before because perhaps the sex just clicked, but now you have to work a little harder. But because you work harder, the fruit that you bear is even greater. What I'm saying is that the size in and of itself is not the issue. It's how you deal with it and whether or not you're able and willing to deal with it and whether or not he's able and willing to deal with it. Just the size in and of itself.
Sexual compatibility is important.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is the compatibility piece has not yet even been explored. All you know is the size. That's what you know. You know the size is a problem, and you know that I wasn't feeling it. You have not explored it in terms of doing the work. You haven't explored it in terms of looking for the solution. If you begin down the path, if she
didn't like the introduction.
Yeah, you met and was like, what is that? right? But you haven't gone down a path to begin to do the work. You don't even know what the work consists of. You haven't gotten with a professional. You haven't done any research. You haven't done anything. You just hit us up. And so what I'm saying to you is, if he's worth it because of all these other areas, would he not be worth it to be able to be willing to do some work with him? You know, that's all I'm saying. Not to say, nah, yeah, I'm going to have to just cancel you out. Because if you do the work, you might find, wow, like we actually found this particular technique and blah, 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 and we actually had this conversation and we're actually closer, and now I'm just so amazed that we actually went to this point. Okay, maybe you will, maybe you won't, but you're not even giving it an opportunity.
Let me just throw this out here then. So if they do the work and they begin the process of exploration, and then she still finds herself dissatisfied,
I mean, that's contingent on a number of different variables, but you have to continue to assess as you go along.
If it's clear that they're sexually incompatible, then, after they've done the work and they've done some exploring, then would that not then be reason for her to say, okay, I might want to press pause in this relationship?
That could be. It could be. It could be. That would be a very personal decision. It certainly doesn't mean you have to, or that that's an automatic you should. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't. But what I'm saying is that you haven't even done the work, and you hadn't even put it on the table and given him the opportunity to know where you are, so y'all can do the work together. So prior to getting to a place of I'm gonna just tap on out, I just don't think that's advisable.
I mean, I can agree in terms of explore.
Oh,
I agree with that.
You came on to my side.
I mean, partially, but I'm very clear that again, if she explores,
wait a minute, how's it partially?
And she don't like what she sees.
You just came on to my side.
She don't like what she
sees.
You
on over here on my street.
Then the reality.
Stop playing. We driving down my street now. Stop pushing.